Hello and welcome, folks, to Day 2 of the Global Offensive, America's Minor Championship. My name is Sir Scoots. I'm going to be running the analyst desk today, but I'm not alone. I can't do this alone. Next to me, on the far end, I should say, you're going to see in a matter of minutes, my good friend Richard Lewis. How are you, sir?
Very good.
And right in the middle, we've swapped out blue. We've got Moses. I like to look at this as two old guys would be maybe the graham cracker. In the middle is the ice cream of the ice cream sandwich, our one and only Creamy Moses.
You got it all in there.
You like that?
No, you see, what I was going to do is if I was in the middle, I was going to say, hi, I'm Richard Lewis, and I'm the referee in this midget boxing match. That's what I was going to do. I was going to go that way. I was going to insult his height, you see. But
that's good.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Nice to have you with us, by the way.
We could do this without Richard, you know.
Yeah, I mean.
Can't do it without you. We can do it without him.
That is true.
Look at him. Divide and rule with this guy.
Separate. Anyway.
He went pre-SL soon.
Great to have you here. Obviously, you did casting all the yesterday, a little swap out. So Blue's going to do some casting with Mancilli. You're going to do some analytical work. So, again, why we're all here is to find a team to go all the way to the major, right? The team that wins this not only gets a share of 50 grand, they'll get 30,000 of that dollars. They'll also be invited to and qualify to the basically the last chance, if you will, online LAN qualifier next month right here, where they'll meet all the other regional qualifiers to try to get to the major. Again, to break down the system at its core, regional competitions started online all around the world. They will lead to four LAN events like this. Then all the teams that didn't quite qualify, that were maybe second, third, and fourth, will be invited to an online last chance qualifier. The teams that won the regionals, those last chance invites will all come back here next month. They will join the 8 challenger teams from the last major in Cluj. They will all battle it out for 8 teams going forward to the major to battle the 8 legendary teams from Cluj. So again, every major, Valve slightly tweaks the system of getting the teams there. We basically started with kind of an invite system for the first majors, and for a very cool reason, like we're going down to tier 2 teams, tier 3 teams, giving them a chance to kind of a road to the major, which is awesome because that's how you kind of build the grassroots of a game
the
like
infrastructure of the region.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we're in a position now where we can give opportunities to those teams because we are starting to see that expansion, new investment coming in. And as I said yesterday, it's always good to give opportunities to tier 2, tier 3 talent, which is why Moses is on the desk.
That's good. That's good. That was well done.
Did you want to get Blue back here? You could be okay?
Yeah,
we can tag him in anytime you want, Doug.
All right, so that's the overall format. And again, I think we're all agreed it's a very cool format. Tweaks here and there still going to keep happening by Valve. But then once you get here, obviously 8 teams were supposed to be here. We ended up with 7 due to some visa issues for the Brazilians and complexity dropping out due to roster issues.
Yeah.
And then obviously we end up with 2 groups, GSL style. We've got a nice little video that's going to kind of walk you through how each minor is working.
The MLG CSGO America's Minor Championship will feature 7 up-and-coming American teams going head-to-head for a chance to go to the major qualifier. Each team has been placed into one of 2 groups, where the top 2 from each group will move on to the championship bracket. All games during group stage will be best-of-1 double elimination, so lose twice, and your dreams of going to the major have ended. Once the 4 teams moving on to the championship bracket have been determined, matches will become a best-of-3 and single elimination. All the teams will be playing for 1 spot to go to the major qualifier, along with a cut of the $50,000 prize purse. For more information on MLG CSGO Major Championship in Columbus, go to mlg.tv/CSGO Major.
All right, so there you have it. Kind of walks you through how we're working this weekend. The one kind of clarification to the video is in the lower bracket final match, do or die time for those teams down below, those will be best of 3s today. So at least your last out, if you at least got down to today, you get a best of 3 to decide your fate.
Yeah, which is, you know, I think that's fair and reasonable. I know some people think it should always be best of 3 for every game, but when you've got time constraints and you've got these kind of inexperienced teams, you know, that probably don't even have the repertoire to really put together a competitive best of 3. Yeah. I don't think best of 1s are all that bad, really, to settle it. So it's good that the crunch games are going to be done with best of 3s. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Let's do a recap. We didn't have you on the desk yesterday, so I'm definitely going to want to get your feedback. You casted some of these matches. So the first match from yesterday was NME taking on EZG, our boy Grumpix.
Yeah. And our boy Kusa's first showing.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a kind of a cool match because it was just, I mean, the first half was just a stomp for NME. The second half was, you know, EZG. They made a little bit of a comeback and actually you know, talking to the enemy guys afterwards, they were sweating it a little bit. They were like, all right, that got a little sketchy for us. I mean, you know, 14-1, you really don't have that fear of losing the match entirety, but to get them to get to 10 rounds, that was a little awkward. We saw Kusta missing a couple shots. It seemed like they weren't really warming up to the land match, but EZG even just built on that in the next matches.
Yeah, I mean, it was real surprising. You have a 14-1 half, you're closing that out. That's got to be like, what, a 16-4, 16-5 game at worst. I mean, it wasn't. They let them really come back and win. I want to give credit to EZG for that. Yes, the terrorist executes that NME were doing were real sloppy. They weren't even using any utility. They weren't putting any smokes or flashes down. They weren't doing anything constructive like that. They just thought they could steamroll over them. EZG showed fortitude and resilience, and you've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
That's how it happens, though, isn't it? That's how the comebacks happen when you're like, all right, 14-1, we can be a little lax for a little bit. We can have some fun, and then all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh.
Yep.
Here they come.
I mean, how often have we seen that bite teams in the butt, right? And they
even
don't
like professional teams, even like the tier 1
Mm-hmm.
teams do that from time to time, and it's just like all of a sudden you give them that window of opportunity and they're taking it and running with it.
But it's especially incredible because this is a team of players that have only played in Open and stuff, and they're not even intermediate, right? They're not at that level of talent, and they've done it against NME, who everyone's saying is going to get to the final. So that should have been a wake-up call for NME. I think hopefully they went back and they watched the demos and they're like, do you know what? We should be in the final, but let's not disrespect anyone like that again. Let's be professional. Let's do what we have to do. Let's be on point.
Yep, exactly. And the next match we did yesterday was Splice versus Leader-1.
Ooh.
Not without its own little controversy. You know, the first two matches of the day, you know, full disclosure, we were on the standard timings that we're used to of bomb timing and round timing. Valve has recently made a change to not only their matchmaking system, but the system of all the majors. And what you're also seeing is all leagues are starting to adopt this. Yep. So we now basically have a 40-second bomb timer and a 2-minute round timer, right? So 5 seconds were added to both, basically. And so here's some highlights of that match. What did you think of this match, Mo?
This came down to, jeez.
Easy
You guys got your burns in. You don't need to go that far anymore.
I love you, Mo.
But this was basically just a huge match of Virtus versus Arya. It was like basically these two titans going against each other in this matchup. And this is an upset of sorts, by the way. It was Leader-1 winning this match, but I mean, huge blunders by Splice. You know, their CT side was very aggressive. They made some very poor decisions. You know, especially I think they threw it away in the last round. You know, despite the bomb timer and everything and whatever the complaint they want to lodge there, giving up the bomb site and a 5-on-4 advantage, just letting them plant for free with no one even contesting it. Yeah. That's an insane decision to make in that kind of a situation. So, I mean, I don't even really attribute it to bomb whatsoever. That's just bad calls on their part.
And you know, look, final word on the sort of mini controversy there, because it seemed to unleash more salt than all of the Transylvanian mines. You know, it was unbelievable. You know, they had an entire half as teas where they were benefiting from the short timer. Just because the crunch round didn't go your way, you've had the benefit for the entire half. It wasn't like it just changed in the second half. So it was really sad to see the management, not the players, by the way. Not the players who were doing a professional job, you know, sort of detract from Leader-1 getting this upset win in a close game, the game of the day yesterday. It's just sad that we can't, you know, like, look, okay, was it optimal that it didn't get caught? Obviously, it wasn't, right? But, like, everyone played an 11 playing field, and the best team won, and that's all you can say about it. And you got to suck it up.
Yeah, and so again, Splice then had to play again. They played EZG, obviously, in the lower bracket match, and we've got some highlights of that. Why don't you kind of walk us through that one as well?
This was incredible. This was an incredible match to watch. So much fun, and what an effort put forth by EZG. And this is one of those things where it seemed like watching them on this map against NME, you know, it almost feels like it took a little bit of them, like they got used to that match. It's probably the first time some of these guys have played on a stage. I mean, they were set up on the MLG stage, you know, first time in that kind of an environment, and they got their legs under them, and they played so well, and they made a great run at this. I mean, we were all kind of pulling for him a little bit. Just the upset story was incredible, and this kid, Morvid. 15 years old, dropped 29 kills on a pro league team.
Crazy.
Like, that is incredible, and this is what this minor is here for, to develop, to give this young talent some chance to start building up the infrastructure of the lower tiered players. And you know, if you're a team that's watching this and you're looking for a player in Premier this season, get in touch with that guy right now, because that's some potential that, you know, 2-3 years he could be playing on a pro league team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you know, it was heartbreak that they weren't able really to capitalize. I thought they could have won this game. There was what happened was it kind of got towards the hard rounds, they didn't know what to do. They wanted their executes to be too perfect. They slowed right down. They were lining up their smokes, taking these extra seconds, and that's just nerves setting in. You could see they just froze a little bit, like, we're actually going to do this. We're actually going to do this. And of course, while you were doing that, that was giving Splice just those extra seconds of intel so they could start squeezing them into these closed off areas, which is, you know, key. That's a strategy you do on cash anyway at the best of times. and they just got that the hammer just hit them. But a great game to close out the day, and I hope all the EZG boys are back at another event like this. I'd love to see them again.
Yeah, I mean, again, well played by them both games.
Yeah.
Again, in defeat, you often learn way more than you ever will when you win. So
Absolutely.
hopefully, like you said, they take it the right way, stay together. That being said, that basically covers the B group, and we saw all of them play yesterday. What we didn't see is any of Group A for a variety of reasons. So, and we're going to talk about Optic in a second. Definitely going to talk to you about Vegas and Optic. This is their first real showing. Obviously, there was a show match. Oh, exactly, yeah. Well, it's all on Twitter anyway. But point being, but we haven't seen Optic yet, we haven't seen Winter Fox yet, and we haven't seen Obey Trifecta yet either.
Yeah.
So basically, to kind of bring you guys up to speed on that group, originally, it was a 3-team group. So Optic, as the top seed here, got a bye. And it was going to be Obey Trifecta playing Winter Fox. Then Obey Trifecta had a player whose flight was canceled, could not get here in time, so they took a DQ loss on their first match, which was one map, automatically dropped down. So now Winter Fox moves forward. So basically, Optic and Winter Fox are undefeated. They did great. They did great yesterday.
Yeah, nice.
Amazing yesterday. So they will match up, and then Obey will sit down in the lower bracket, waiting for the loser of that. And again, let's talk a little about Optic. Last time we were in the building, and you were even here visiting us, you weren't working it, they were Conquest. And you've obviously watched them not only when we were here for Conquest, but you were in Las Vegas for the E-League show match, where they took on the Lounge team from Poland and successfully dominated them. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. It was really interesting because there was a lot of people who were going, this is an American team. They're going to come up against a European team, supposedly of similar ability and close in the standings. And, of course, the Europeans are going to prevail. Well, it just wasn't the case. In fact, the CSGO Lounge guys, I mean, I think, sure, they wilted in the spotlight a little bit, but they got absolutely destroyed. I mean, the Cobble map was what, like 16-3 or something?
Yeah,
it was brutal. I mean, obviously the magic of TV, we would have loved a much closer game, but the beauty of Counter-Strike is you ain't always going to get what you sign up for, and I mean, Optic can be really, really proud of how they performed out there. It's a great start to the organization, and as I said yesterday, and I'll repeat it again today, all the people that were saying this is a 5th, 6th best team in NA are just idiots, especially with the NA shuffle going on. These guys are going to be right up there. Yeah, I got Team Liquid in at number 1, but these guys could even leapfrog Cloud9. We don't know what they're going to be doing with Stewie, right? So, I think this has actually worked out to be a really good pickup for Optic to get into CSGO. This is a great first team, and I'm sure they'll fly the flag, proudly.
It's a team that, still has to learn how to be consistent because they have so much talent. And we saw them, at that CEVO when they went up against Virtus Pro. They went toe-to-toe with them, brought them into overtime, beat Dignitas. They went toe-to-toe with Mouse Sports after that. And then they went to a LAN out west in North America with just North American teams, the iBot Power Cup, and they got stomped. So it's just, they have to figure that part out. But there's no doubt, Rush is a guy incredibly skilled. If he can figure things out, if he can stay at that level that he plays at when he hits his peak, going to be incredible. Shazam's been playing lights out lately. He does really good in these freewheeling environments. We saw him in Cloud9. I mean, there were a whole host of issues in that roster when he was on that team that kind of contributed to him not doing well, but he's certainly come alive in Vegas and lately in the squad. So this tournament for them, if they don't win it, that is going to be a kick in the balls. That is going to be a huge, huge blow to them.
Yeah, and again, they are, let's look at the rest of Group A, but they are basically supposed to make the finals, and it's supposed to be either Winter Fox or NME, right? So let's talk a little about the other two teams in this group, Winter Fox and Obey Trifecta. Winter Fox, I think, is also got a big target on their back. They've all moved to Chicago. They've got great support from Winter Fox, but huge support from one of their main sponsors, SteelSeries. They have basically a LAN boot camp in the SteelSeries office. They've got apartments in Chicago. They've all moved there, and they've all been there for about 2 weeks since the holiday break, just boot camping. So, do or die time, right?
They were here last night practicing as well. They were all set up in the back. They were scrimming throughout the entire evening while matches were going on. So they were here practicing. They're dedicated. I mean, this is another thing where it may seem crazy considering the season they just had in Pro League where they went through all those issues with the European players. They almost got relegated. They were down like 11 rounds in a relegation match to a Premier team and had like a miracle performance out of XP3 to stay in Pro League even. But this is considering all that, it's kind of crazy, but they're in the same boat as Optic where if they don't win this, it's just detrimental. It's so detrimental to them. This is an event that they come in and they say, we have to win this. With everything we've sacrificed, with everything we've been given from SteelSeries and Winter Fox, we have to win this event.
I think it's quite telling that despite all of the efforts Winter Fox have been putting in, despite this new roster that's been assembled, despite that miracle comeback to stay in the league, people still don't believe they're going to make it to the finals. People are still calling it NME and Optic, right? And this is just because Winter Fox have been perennial failures. There's no getting away from it. From the moment they picked up the old Luminosity lineup and everyone was like, that could be the surprise team in NA that does damage. It's got the Euro firepower with the American kind of stalwarts. This is a team that should be doing a lot better than it is. Didn't pan out that way, and it's just been this rolling story of like say, of failures and underachievement that the sleepers got to awaken, right? They got to come alive sometime. Needs to be this tournament for me. And
then we got one more team in the group. Again, not as well known as obviously these two teams we talked about, but Obey Trifecta.
Yeah, I mean they've got a couple. Statutory Ape is a player who's been in the Invite division and Pro division. Slemmy as well has been around. They've got some talent on this team, but yeah, we just don't really know a lot about them as a squad overall. So it's going to be very interesting. But I mean, you just mentioned Winter Fox, the perennial failures. Optic Gaming, very up and down. Like both of these teams are really susceptible if they come into a day and they're not feeling it and they're having one of their off days. These are both teams that are possible to be upset by. Obey Trifecta, by NME in the other bracket and the other side of the thing. So I mean, both these teams are to be really, really cautious and really focused when they come in today.
Yeah, and we talked about the teams in the recap from Group B, but let's go ahead and take a look at those and just kind of show you guys how the bracket again is going to work out. Again, the first match we're going to do today is obviously that NME GG versus Leader-1. I almost said EZG. Sorry, boys, you're not in it anymore. But again, we've kind of talked in detail about them already during the recaps, but just kind of overall initial thoughts on the group and how you guys think this is going to play out.
Well, go on, Moses.
It actually kind of stay a little away from NME GG Leader-1 because we're going to get into that in more detail. Yeah. So Splice. Okay, go for it. Just do it. I want Kusta. I want Kusta. I am so excited for that matchup, but I'm pumped for that.
But Splice is, I mean, you want to talk about a wake-up call when you mentioned, Enemy's match versus EZG yesterday that they almost let slip away. Splice had a massive wake-up call, two of them, in fact.
Twice.
They get upset by Leader-1, and that's definitely an upset. And then EZG takes them to the limit. So, I mean, that's a team in Pro League that you're just like, this should never happen.
I mean, I got to say, like, terrible day at the office yesterday for Splice, and I'll be intrigued to see what they've done to kind of reset today, because whether that's going to be kind of the benchmark, if you like, of their level of performance, where they're just going to lose to teams realistically they should be winning. Splice, as I said, they put a lot of money in, a lot of effort, and a lot of resources into having a CSGO team. They've had multiple ones. This is the one they're apparently going to stick with. They've got a coach in there who says, I'm going to take over as in-game leader in a few months once it gets settled. This is CSGO, baby. You don't have a few months. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You've got to hit the ground running. This is the big time. So, yeah, I think Splice really got to raise that game today.
It's good you mentioned their coach, because he was not happy yesterday.
No, that's
scared. He's an old Counter-Strike, player in CGS and everything like that. So, I mean, he talked to me afterwards, and he was like, it's just incredible sometimes when you see the decision-making, and you just like, there's no smarts in some of the situationals that they played in.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. That's when they start losing rounds, when players are peaking when they don't need to be over-aggressive, when they should be more passive. And that's a problem in North American Counter-Strike that permeates through every team at every level. So,
yeah.
But you could tell he was very, very frustrated with that, especially as the coach, as a former pro player, and you can't do anything. You're just sitting behind him watching, and you're just like, I want to do something.
Well, you can. You sure can.
He actually said something, unfortunately, very disheartening to me yesterday, because we were chatting about like old versus new, right? Because again, we've all been around for a long time, and we've always had maybe motivation issues, and used to be financial issues in North American Counter-Strike, and no one's getting paid, so they're not motivated. And some of these issues are still the same: the homework, the research, the proper scrimming, all those things. And he turned to me and goes, Scoots, it's 100 times worse now.
Yeah.
And that just broke my heart, because it always wasn't that good. So
the irony is now we have the money, and now it's like we're getting paid to not do the work. So why would we do the work?
I'm like, no, it's supposed to be better, not worse. So again, hopefully, he can shape up that roster. But again, a big money organization in Splice is not going to mess around for not going to take middling results for very long at all.
No.
So I know the veto has started. This is perfect.
Here we go, yeah.
So again, to remind you guys how the system works for the Valve majors and minors, there are no picks in this system. It's all bans and then a randomizer. So we have 7 maps in our pool, obviously. Each team will take turns banning 2 maps as they go back and forth. So you can see we've gotten rid of Cobble, we've gotten rid of Inferno, and we've gotten rid of Dust 2. Then that'll leave us, after this last ban, will leave us with 3 maps. They go into a randomizer, and we end up with our map. There you have it. It will be Overpass.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
North American teams hate this map.
Yeah, I was going to say, neither of these teams have got previous on this, so this is interesting. What I thought was really interesting was Leader-1 have tried to do a bit of a tactic here. They've tried to do a bit of a strategy. Now, I said the smart play is to come in and just ban the maps you're weak on. Now, Leader-1 have already had an upset win on Dust 2, but they want to take that away, I'm pretty sure, from Kusta, who just goes absolutely off. It's a good AWPers playground. So they probably wanted to eliminate that. Now on Overpass, I mean, again, I think it slightly favors NME, but I don't think anyone's going to be happy this has come out the hat.
No, they can't be excited for sure. I know NME wanted to play Mirage. Talked to them beforehand. They wanted to get Mirage out there. Maybe taking cash out because of the struggles they had on it versus EVG just not willing to really mess with it. So very interesting that like Train and Overpass were still in there. Those are some of the custom maps you normally see taken out. But the cool thing about NME, the reason why I think this actually gives them an edge, is they're a team that came into Pro League. They don't have, like outside of Kusa, they don't have anyone that you would say is massively skilled, like this upcoming star. So what they've done, they've actually, you know, they were middle of the pack. They were fighting for a playoff spot, but they ended the season 10-12. But they did it not on skill. They did it the right way. They were doing it on teamwork. They were doing it on, you know, hard practices. This is a team that was very dedicated throughout the season. So they've kind of built up, you know, they do a lot with the skill that they do have. So that kind of preparation that they've had to have all season, that kind of work ethic that we just talked about some teams don't have. I mean, even with the skill they have on Overpass, I think this is going to be a stronger map for them.
Yeah, definitely. And look, you're talking about teamwork, Teamwork's great. I love teamwork, right? We're all a team.
Here we go.
I love it. There's no joke coming.
Teamwork.
But like when you've got somebody like can carry, you know, like just if the team works off, you've got a star player you can go to and just get you through the, you know, those segments. You know, like me on a desk, for example.
Pretty much.
Right?
Oh, please.
You know it is, baby. You know, like that's just something that not every other team here has, and Kusta is that star player. This is like going to be his year. I got no doubt about it in my mind. Even yesterday when we were saying, hey, he's whiffing a bit and missing a few shots, still had a pretty great rifle performance. Still got an ace on a vital clutch round when they were about to get eco'd.
That was a sick clutch,
still had a great kills to death ratio. I think the strongest on the server. So even on his bad day, this is a genuine bona fide talent, and I think he's going to absolutely tear it up here on Overpass. You know, on mainline as well.
And I think Blue made the point yesterday is like that's all well and good if you've got this superstar, but if he's the only thing you got going and he has a bad day, you can't build it. You can't build it. You can't build off that.
And that's where I think mainline came in yesterday. They really needed that sort of secondary person who's going to go in. And I thought mainline was great. He got an ace, followed it up with a 4-man, followed it up with a 3-man. By the time they had 5 rounds on the board, he was like 18 for 4 or something. So this is if he can carry on that level of performance today, I think they're going to be all right against a lot of the teams here. Because that's what they've never had. You know, Kusta's never had that wingman.
Yeah.
Well, here's the reality, too. You can get away with that at the minor in North America. I mean, you can get away with it against some of the talent that's here. So, you know, not the end of the world if Kusa doesn't have like a big game right now. Sure. But even going against him, let's talk about Verdi, because he was a monster yesterday in that Dust 2 match. I mean, with his AWP, he was killing it. So, I mean, it's not like this is going to be a cakewalk. Kusa might have to duel this guy, and he was on fire yesterday. So if he comes in with that same kind of play, it's going to be a cool early test for us to watch.
He did so well, I followed him on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Jeez.
Followed him on Twitter. And you all know I like my Twitter. So I followed him on Twitter.
Go Kusta. And obviously you can see some stats there in front of you. The yellow means that from the qualifiers on, these are stats for the player. If it's yellow, that means the player leads the category. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
For his team?
No, but
is that? Yeah, I think that's overall. I don't think it's for his team.
Okay. Cool. Good for Kusta.
Yeah, but this is what we talked about yesterday. Like it's the blessing and the curse of NME is that it's all on him. You know, out of the last 9 maps coming into this tournament, we talked about how he top fragged them and you know, he was the top fragger on 5 of them. Then he was the second fragger on 3 of them. So 8 out of the last 9 maps I played, he's in the top 2 statistical strong players. And so it was yesterday. It was him and mainline again. He's never going to have a bad game. He's never like his poor games are only poor by his own incredibly high standards. So his average games is still better than like 90% of North America.
Yeah, I mean, I looked it up. I think he's, you know, just recently been to some lands. You know, iBuy Power Cup and RGN were probably his first couple out there, but. You know, his past like 10 maps on LAN, he's only had 2 maps where he's under a 1.0 rating on HLTV, and they were at 0.99. And this is against, you know, he had like 2 maps against Renegades, like where he dropped like 27 kills in one of them. He had a match against Luminosity where he dropped like 32 kills against him. I mean, this guy has just shown up. I mean, this is why we keep talking about him. We're all so hyped about him because he has such a good early showing, and we're just kind of scratching the surface of it.
And clearly has moral fiber. You know, re-signed with NME when like teams like TSM and all that were coming knocking. Probably turned down a big paycheck.
Sure.
I don't know whether he'll come to regret that decision by the end of 2016, but just this kid's got it all.
All right. Final predictions. We're about to get this one going.
I'm going to take NME in this match.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Leader-1 will acquit themselves well. I see it being like, because of the nature of the map, like a 16-10, 16-12, but NME have got to win it.
And one more time, Richard, tell me where you think he ranks as operators in North America.
Better than Skadoodle, that's for damn sure.
Which would make him the #1 operator in North
I
America,
agree.
according to Richard Lewis. There you have it, folks. The map is Overpass. It's going to be NME GG taking on Leader-1. Bringing you all the action is going to be Landers and Helium. Take it away, gentlemen.
Hey, thank you. So here we are on Overpass for one of 2 best of 1s left on the day. After that, the losers rounds 2 will be full-fledged best of 3s, and of course best of 3s going into the championship bracket on the final day tomorrow. But here we are with NME GG on the CT side, Leader-1 on the T side. Everyone going for armor here on Leader-1. Kusta will take a kit for NME along with the 2 flashes.
Surprising to see Kusta buy the kit. I mean, you can almost rely on him to get most of the frags, so typically you'd have more of a supportive type player buy the kit, armor up, and be relied on to hit shots. Flash Step leading the way up long, and it seems like the rest of them are coming out bathrooms. A really nice gush. Virtus actually doing 190 ADR there, taking down a player as well. And oh, now Skylar on the side with 12 HP actually finds a frag, and they move up.
Yeah, so 4-on-3 right now. Leader-1 getting stopped in their tracks a little bit. Still stuck out here by the bathrooms, working their way into the A site right now. There's a man, Uber, behind that semi-truck. Some will call it Optimus, of course. And maybe starting to back off now. Relics is at long, holding on. Uber on the site, and we've got one more man working down towards the B site. Fox still trying for this, but it's Virtus. And now Josh leading the charge into B. Fox also getting a kill while residing in A, but there's only 1 CT left there. They've already rotated all the way into the B site. Lucky playing in pit. Main lane starting to push up there on that catwalk here in the B site. He'll take down Josh, and now it's Fox with just 12 HP, 1 versus 3. Careful not to take damage even from that fall. Could have done him in. And whoa, the Glock from that range. Fox. Surprised that man didn't win the Powerball.
I won the Powerball, Helium.
Oh, really?
First day in Ohio. Can you believe it?
I really can't.
I got the eyebrows from Uber. But yeah, a really common strat you can do on this map as a terrorist, just buy armor and bust out A. I mean, that's one of the best things you can do. One of the main advantages of this map on CT side is the forward aggressive control, is pushing up to bathrooms, challenging long from rock and tree, and playing crossfires. You got stairs as well. That comes easy as a CT. And as a terrorist on the pistol round, when you know that the other team doesn't have very much utility, busting out there can be relatively easy. But ultimately, NME GG hit their 1 USPs, which is the make or break point of the round like that. Now Uber trying to see over the corner of the smoke. Oh, actually does find a head, and that could be huge. Yeah,
he saw Char cross, was able to line up that shot, and there's Josh in the pit. He'll go down, so Leader-1 tried to go for a quick split over onto the B site. They had even put 1 man into the stairs connector just to make sure that was covered and there wouldn't be a fast flank from the CTs, but it didn't matter.
No. And they did deny the plant, which is really important. We didn't see it on the pistol as well, and here we have what is going to be basically a Glock save. They did invest quite a bit of money there buying the smoke, trying to get the bomb down because that would have bolstered their economy to the point that they'd be able to buy. And I think we had no one save actually, so we might not even see an op next round.
Yeah, just showing how good that FAMAS really is. Lucky gets the first frag with the UMP, so a little bit of extra cash for him. Mainline, meanwhile, with the FAMAS, still trying to hold on. Terrace working their way. They want to party. Just a couple more steps, and they've got control of it, forcing Kusta to go back. Actually not backing off all the way. A few more parting shots. Now he'll flee. There's Uber chiming in with his M4A1S. He'll take down Flash Step. Fox positioned to the bathrooms. Might get a nice cheeky frag. He's actually going to let players run by. Not the cleanest kill, but he does still get it. There's a clean one onto Kusta. Hits the headshot with that P250. Now left contending with Uber. Fox very low. You can see the bomb down on the ground in front of him. He's got to make his way out to that. Uber sees it as well. And into the 1v1 cams. 14 HP against 58. Uber working his way in around the smoke. Fox as well. Actually has the knife out. Uber hears those footsteps and reacts accordingly.
Wow, that could have been a very different round depending on how he wanted to use that smoke, but Uber pushing down the right side made a lot of sense for him. And there is a very close round with a lot of utility and a lot of very expensive weapons that were dropped on the side of enemy. So now they'll have to reconcile their losses. We'll look into this round with, it looks like an op and having no remaining money, I think, on most players. Leader-1 have 5 AKs. Again, Virtus ended up forcing on the second round, and that's what happens. If you're the opper and you decide to force up with the rest of your team because you think you're going to win or because you don't want to op, then you're not going to be able to. AKs will be all that he can afford, but not the biggest deal on T side.
Molotov out to the tree. That's going to help 1 man, and also the bomb carrier. I think that was flashed up in Virtus working out long. So
I really like
this
that.
long control. They've also got 1 man. That's going to be Char holding down that connector, and of course the standard B lurk from Josh. But he's actually getting pushed in, and he's not watching that short drain. He'll go down. Does get at least 1 shot, so some damage, but not a good position to be in going down a man early.
Well, that solo push from Uber, I think he was pretty confident that he'd find someone
That's a lot of information, too. Just seeing one person out there, no attempt at a trade. I wonder where they are. They're probably at middle or long.
Yeah, I mean, we already have the stack towards A. The issue is that they're all on the site, and Bathrooms is still giving up, and it is 4v5, but it's still early in the, or relatively early in the round. The only issue for them is if they assume Uber push farther, which he didn't, but it seems like they're pretty confident about not watching their flanks and are just going to be working towards A site.
Yeah, enemy GG with the man advantage, not worried about trying to maybe go beyond what's necessary by pushing and flanking, just going to put themselves on the site, on the objective, and try to hold. But here's Char with 2 frags moving in with the AK. So into a 2-on-2 right now. We'll see what Kusta can do. Forced to retake with his op. Didn't find any op battles. Kusta was definitely on point with this yesterday. Even had an ace with the M4A1S, I do believe, on Cash. Let's see what he can do here. Fire to clear out the truck, so Kusta will work around there. Will they go together? No. Peeking on separate sides, giving Virtus an opportunity to maybe bring them down, but he can't seize it. Here's Char with his 3rd kill. Can he get the 4th? Gets to play the advantage as the terrorist with that bomb being planted. Char, what will he do? Doing a quick little jump peek. Still thinks he's on. And Uber will get that shot. Baits Char into the open, and he's got the time to defuse. So a very close one and an expensive one.
Oh my god.
But he picks up that up.
Trying to work that time and doing a really good job of it too. Jump peeking to the right once in a while, and then Uber hitting that one bullet. Man, that's sick. That's pretty sick from him. And retake was, I think, a really rough situation for them to be in. For them to be in a 2v2, one thing I really didn't like from Enemy there was the fact that they had Uber push out to short B, push out short B, catch a lurker on the other side of the map, and they know anything about the team. Maybe they know that they might find Josh there most rounds, that they're doing a 4-1, and not using that information at all. Not staying outside long B, not coming upstairs. They had no stairs, no long B control, they had no party control, they had no long A control, and so pretty much they made it 5v4 and were still too afraid to try to retain any of the new map control that they were given. And that's why the round came so close in the first place. You had 2 people retaking from CT, which is the worst place to retake from, when they could have had someone on a stairs flank, someone on a big flank early in the round. No one from Leader-1 was even watching the flank after they lost their solo man out of the site.
I don't think anyone's even spotted an enemy of the opposing team, but there's been a lot of bullets spammed through the boards over there at the catwalk. Uber's trying to get anyone hiding out in construction. Spam through the smokes at Monster. No one's taken any damage, and we can see Leader-1 trying to work slowly here. They've got very limited utility. A couple flashes of smoke and 1 Molotov there on Char. We'll see where he wants to throw that. I would assume it barrels. Lucky's playing in the pit. He's gonna get his incendiary out. He pulls it, peeks with it. Does throw it, but Flash Up takes him down with a headshot. Now Relics at barrels, able to get 1. Fox moving up into the flames around the supporting column of the Overpass. Kusta from up top, the eye in the sky here on Overpass, hitting both of those op shots. 3 to survive for Enemy, a much more dominant round for them. And Leader-1, they got max bonus, but I imagine their money is not going to be so great.
Yeah, that was a really entry-heavy round. They weren't relying too much on explosiveness, because we saw 2 people come into the site. You know, we had 1 entry come out, and because they took so much time, by the time their 4th and 5th guy got in, the smokes had dissipated on the site, and it just made it way too hard to take. So we could kind of see that round start to fall apart from Leader-1, and it started with them coming in strong and then slowing down too quickly. I think if they had a little bit better spacing and obviously pulled up the trades, they could have taken the site that they wanted to 5-man much more easily.
Oh wow, they were ready. Mainline with the flash to let Kusta get out of there. They were expecting a push from the fountain area, but instead it came up the stairs. Mainline still at his back. Kusta somehow gets away. Even was able to hit a 2nd op shot, so 2 kills for both of them. It was again just those running gun pistols coming at them, so it wasn't too much to fend off at that distance. And Mainline with the last frag.
Almost a backbreaking round when you think about it. Now it's going to be, you know, the situation where you're going to have consecutive losses, so there's going to be a buy and a save and a buy and a save for Leader-1. But at some point, because they're on T side, they could decide to force up. As long as they get plants here, you might see one of their very last full saves. And half buys at least from now on. Now Virtus is going to have his op. This is a nice change of pace for them. Now instead of having 5 rifles and knowing that they can't hit B or can't hit A, they can completely change it up and maybe rely on him to work the map slowly.
Yeah, I was really hoping for that sniper duel because, of course, Kusta, granted they didn't play the strongest opponent, but he had a great showing on Cash with his op and even with just the regular rifles. And, of course, Virtus got, what, 35 kills?
35, yeah.
On Dust, too, so maybe we can get blessed with some sniper duels today. But already 6-0 for Enemy GG.
No, Enemy have short B control, which is really nice for them. So even though they're 5v4 right now, oh, what a shot from Kusta!
Virtus
You
want to
see that duel?
Yeah, put in that second jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he had a scout.
Bunch of Powerball winners.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you hit that shot, that's insane. Here's Josh. Oh no, Josh is going to go down. I think that means he's hit the 007 mark, which is pretty tough. No, he did get a kill this round, so he escapes that fate, actually. 3-on-3 now. As still trying to work up into this A site.
Yeah. Map control is in favor of Leader-1, but the thing is they don't even know it, right? They're all towards A, so they might as well both have given up the other side of the map. And we have one person in B, which is perfectly standard. Kusta is the op at A, and I think if L1 knew this, that he had a teammate with them who actually goes down and
Kusta
looking for a 4K and will find it. Wow. So aware. Too aware Kusta.
Too aware Kusta. He had Kusta jumped behind the sight box, spotted out that they were in the bathrooms. Relics then peeked off the right side of the sight box. He got pieced immediately. Kusta goes off the left at more or less the same time, catches them as they're both peeking. No one was able to swing wide enough, brings them down in a nice final 4th kill.
Even the way that he got that 4th kill, knowing exactly how far our man from Long had strafed out to try to challenge him. He's got really good awareness and completed a really nice clip for himself there. That's a highlight.
I mean, that hurts. You're already, in their case, that round losing 6-0 to get 2 for 1 by the op when you kind of had a chance in an even 3-on-3 to take that ace site. Maybe hurting the confidence, but Virtus will start him off with the Tech 9 kill, now picking up that M4A1S. Mainline also taking a lot of damage, but Lucky, well, living up to his name. Planned in the smoke, he just starts spraying, hits that headshot almost instantly onto Fox. So now Leader-1 slowed down. And it's into this 4-on-4, bomb down on the site. They'd only really put one man forward. I guess Virtus has moved past the site. He was trying to go take control of Graffiti, but Uber up on the sandbags is good for the 1 kill.
Now they have the good retake spot with short control. Josh has to cover his teammate, and he does do it successfully. No one is there to trade that frag right away, and I think Mainline with very low HP. Oh, catches flash that pushing through a long B smoke. Wow. Ooh, maybe thought he could run right by him, and now it's going to be on Kusta, who has a Tech 9 and most HP. Mainline pushing up short, looks for another frag, but Josh PM covering that bomb too well. And that is 2 and 3 frags for both him and his teammate remaining. They defend that bomb plant really well. Yeah, Lucky getting that first frag seemed perfect, and then them able to get the bomb down once again was really important to do it quickly before too many people came in.
Look at Uber, 12-1 right now. Pretty crazy. Let's see if Leader-1, I mean, 1 round is great, of course, but now if you happen to lose this, they've went in for an op, they will reset that bonus. It's very, very key that they can string some rounds together. And Enemy GG, a couple of those last ones were close, so you can already see that Mainline and Lucky are pushed down to Famas's with no utility, and Kusta missing that op shot onto Josh, who wins that battle with an 8K at that range, and now Josh finding a second, so starting to come alive after not finding many frags in the first couple rounds.
Enemy really can't get sloppy here. They actually just gave up 2 opening picks to one player who got 2 spray downs, 1 on and off, and is looking for a 3rd man in the site. Uber is spotted back in pit, does substantial damage though to Josh, who is now kind of alone in B site.
And very blind.
And this gives Enemy a chance to even up. Will they have cause to rotate soon enough? It looks like we have 2 players trekking over to A.
Yeah, they're trying to come back
full
up.
speed, and they might be here in time.
Yeah, there's Relics, not going to let Char even put a foot on those stairs. He'll bring down Fox as well. So Relics with a big 2K, maybe a 3rd. He sees Virtus, sees the barrel that op, tries to spam him down, but not too much damage given over to him. Flash Step, meanwhile, working his way up Long. He might be the more key player in this scenario. Long's a little bit harder to defend, but there's also no cover if Mainline decides to peek, and that's what happens. Famas headshot for Mainline. Verdi spotting ahead. About to play a game of whack-a-mole here.
The fact that Josh there was over at B and, oh.
There it is. 1 mole down.
Powerball. Just called it shots Powerball. But yeah, just testing the jump peaks, and some people just pre-aim over that box because it's just a really great way to spot both sides of bathrooms. And now Virtus in a 1-on-2 with 10 seconds left, has to push onto his site, get a frag, which allowed him to get a plant. Oh, feeling lucky today.
Nice try. Well, we saw him chuck that smoke over the hedge there to try to get it to land in B, play those sound mine games, and then time was so low, so he just bombed out at the site. There was no time to check anything, and that player at Optimus in that little corner hadn't moved at all.
Yeah. Now Virtus hasn't had the same impact as Kusa. On that last round, Kusa didn't do so hot, but his team picked it up for him. Relics hit some really nice shots. Those are some good shooting from Truck to get those 2 headshots on players coming A. Now Leader-1 actually left Josh BM to get 2 frags at B and then push him by himself. They kind of hung him out to dry, but they did it so that they could buy enough time to rotate back to the other site. Josh didn't really have like a game plan once he was in the site though, and I think once he got spotted, or maybe got spotted too soon, ended up getting swarmed and just naded to death. So I think it happened all too quickly, and it might have been a little bit too early for him to go in as a decoy.
Oh no! Josh taking down Flash Step as Uber was coming around that corner with the P90. And this was actually just around. Josh BM had, I think, a P215 armor. Everyone else just some upgraded pistols. There wasn't a lot in it, so they've made it pretty expensive here. Josh BM maybe can do some more damage. He will scoop up the bomb.
Now, NME GG have like they have to make a decision here. Do we want to play this 2v1 together? I mean, they know where Josh was last spotted. He doesn't know where both players are. It seems like they typically favor going back to A quite often. I mean, this is a solo situation, so all team strategy is out the window, but I guess most worried about Truck here.
Yeah, we can see that one player in bank. That's going to be Relics.
Oh.
Watching that cross just barely. Okay, it's the X-ray off. I think Relics did notice a couple pixels of those shoulders going in. And wow, nice flick up to the head there. Good shot by Relics. And another round for NME.
They put it on the board, and it seems like a lot of these rounds are relatively close, though. Some obviously like flaws, I think, in the way that Leader-1 are playing it, apart from their actually ability to frag. I mean, just losing a 3v5 straight up, like with 2 players alive from the other team, is not something to look back on and smile, because I think that in that round when it was 3v5, Josh got those 2 kills. Like, that's an almost unexcusable round to just fall apart, especially with no trades. Like, Relics had some nice shots on the Truck. He got those 2 kills, which is just some really good shooting. But if 2 players strafed out and peeked him together, like, he should only be able to get 1, and that is a pretty good piece of cover, but at the same time, the fact that they had a man advantage and they were moving into a site together means that, like, at the very worst, it comes down to like a 2-on-1 or something. But instead, he gets 2 kills for free, stays alive for the entire round.
Yeah, so maybe just need to tighten up those trades a little bit when they're working on their executes.
Yeah.
I mean, also they're kind of playing again. They've lost so many rounds. Now the bonus has just reset. They're not going to have as much utility, so hitting those kills and getting the trades becomes even more important when you don't have the smokes, the molotovs, and the flashes to work your way into these sites.
I also wonder if Kusta is actually trying to, or if Virtus is trying to find Kusta, or if he's just moving with the pack right now. Because it seems like on Dust 2, it was Virtus to do whatever he wanted to do, right? And here on Overpass, it seems like he's with the pack of 3 people. He's not the man solo lurking the other side. He's not working long B alone. He's just coming out long with Fox and Fox and friends, I guess, and roaming the map as a team. And maybe he's not feeling it in the same way as he was on Dust 2. Maybe he doesn't like the map itself. Maybe, for a variety of reasons, he's not having the same impact that he did. But he's only had it for 2 rounds. Kusta, since they won the pistol, had it right off the bat.
Yeah, we've seen him hit some nice, quick flick shots with it. Unfortunately, it was when he was alone and there were non-impact frags. I mean, the aim is certainly still there. Maybe he can get it in his hands again. But again, this continuous losing is pretty tough. He's not going to get a lot of opportunities to even have the op on the T side. So let's see if they can adjust. Looks like Uber, we saw him last round. I think it was the last round, with a P90. This one he's going in with UMP. So feeling pretty confident. I mean, that submachine gun is decent against the armor. We'll see how he can make it work. Char holding out there in the connector.
Yeah, and again, it looks like a 3-1-1. They like to leave Char here at stairs to work it alone. And, they can't expect Josh to just come out long being that get 2 kills at the beginning of the round. As a lurker on the other side of the map. But it seems like, I think they threw their molly at long, and they're going to go work it.
This is actually the first time we've seen the sign boost over here.
Yeah.
On the run up at the A stairs.
It's really nice when you have a huge round lead to try to use a boost like this to catch the other team off guard, because they're going to work into a default. They're going to try to assume that you're going to do something that you've done in a previous round, and if you have like one more gimmick to use, that's going to be the perfect opportunity to get a free 5v4.
Yeah. And there was no op there for the CT side, so some footage of the players. I think we might have had a bit of hiccup with the spectator part.
And the big problem for Leader-1 is that they don't get anyone to contest them in bathrooms, and yet even when they push up the site, they still manage to lose. Like, one thing I'm always so critical about on Overpass is when teams play too many people on A site. And at B site's okay, there's like a lot of good cover, but on A site there's like the sight box and there's the truck. But those two things can be mollied out, naded so easily, as well as spammed. And so I don't really like relying on them. Like, if someone strafes out long, they can see all of truck, and your sight box cover is completely useless. If you're only coming from bathrooms, it's not as great, but it's so easy to split if no one's pushed up long or if no one's pushed up bathrooms. And so the fact that NME can play in the site and still win rounds, I think is a huge problem for them.
Yeah, definitely preferring the offense as the best defense on that CT side at the A site. Push out, takes the control. I mean, we've seen them do it. We saw one round where Kusta went out, had the op. He wanted to peek Fountain, and when he did, there was as soon as he shot, the flash came over the bushes from mainline, and mainline supported him. They both got out alive. They both got 2 kills, and the round was pretty much over at that point.
Right.
So here we are. The players, I guess, are still playing. This is next level right here. Just playing off whose perspective is this, if I can figure it out. Well, looking down ladder. Well, if it's looking down ladder, I assume that's Char, because that's been the role that he's been at most of the time.
I guess it's just an eco, actually. Huh.
All right, well, we're back in. Yeah, so NME, I guess the money wasn't good enough.
Leader-1 looking at a maximum of a 9-6 half, which is not so great. I'd say you can pull off a really successful maybe 8-7 T-side half most of the time on Overpass, but it is going to depend on your team dynamic. And as developed as the map is, I'd say it's still relatively new in terms of meta, in contrast to like some of the really old maps. And I think people's setups are changing quite dramatically all the time. But here so far, I'd say NME have certainly met their quota, and we'll just be looking for any bonus rounds. 10-5, 11-4.
And since this is just pistols kind of running around trying to defend, get those frags, not much going on. Remind ourselves that, I guess before the server went down, from our point of view, they did have that boost in A, and that obviously did not work because they lost that round and were forced to save. So that was the second, and now the third round on the board here for Leader-1 on their T sides. I mean, there is still a chance to have that decent 9-6 half. They will have to win out for that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, you can tell that if a team, right as they lose a round, end up in a double save situation, that you have been doing work on previous rounds, so that is a little bit of solace for them. But
wow, yeah, full save into a force buy here, but going into round 14, NME GG will have enough for a full buy. Here's Char chasing him down into the stairs. People getting aggressive outside of B. 2 people running into Josh. He's getting very, very low. Those annoying mosquito bites that are pistols. Oh, he falls.
It's really the perfect analogy.
This would be the worst round to lose. There's Flash Step getting it back within the realm of reason. Takes down mainline, and they will get the bomb planted. Man disadvantage, but now the CTs should be retaken from all sides. And Relic somehow strafing in and out of that, even through the fire. He takes down Char with that 5-7 on the stairs. Verdi's holding out at long. Not a lot of cover, but should be able to win the battle if they decide to peek him. But they go two people peeking him. Relic takes him down. Another kill with that 5-7.
Oh man,
and there's Kusta. That hurts.
That is so tough when you're holding an angle like that at long, and you could have the spray down. If 2 people come at you, they commit to their strafe, and you hold down mouse 1, and you get them both with your ammo, with your armor to save you from aim punch, and you win the round. It happens all the time. But if someone peeks you because they know you're holding the angle, and then you commit to shooting, and you're on your recoil reset, and then someone else strafes out and gets there right in the middle of that, and your gun gets jammed, basically, you're screwed. And that's what they did to him. I mean, that whole round was pretty much baiting each other, peeking really well, hitting them with those fast strafes, and coming in like mosquitoes, like you said. Like, that's exactly what it feels like when a pistol
it's really annoying.
or a couple of pistolers are coming at you.
Got to get the aloe out after those rounds.
But that was a free, like, that was a double eco situation. I mean, obviously it was a half buy in the sense that they had half armor, but it's more of a loss for Leader-1, who I guess could have surmised 6 rounds and now can only look at 5.
Yeah, which is very, very different boat to be in. Here, though, Leader-1 have worked up. They've got into the bathrooms. They've planted themselves over at long, again, using that Molotov at the tree to get that early control. But that being said, enemies never really pushed out. They've never pushed down to the tree rock setup. I think I don't even know if they've peeked long, to be honest. I've only seen them go aggressive at the bathrooms a few times, but they're pretty reserved with their passive CT side. And I mean, who's to blame them? It's basically worked.
Yeah. And I think I fear for them if they do go long, because they've got that Molotov for the tree, which is super hardcore, because if they do Molotov the tree, there's really nowhere you can run to. Even that tree is spammable. It's not the greatest place to send unless you have a teammate with you. Oh, Kusta hitting a leg and having cover from mainline.
Kusta and mainline, they were big players yesterday.
Yeah.
Back-to-back aces, one each for them on their cast match, and they've had each other's back here on Overpass. Uber with a nice little burst, and then some taps onto Virtus, taking him down. That leaves Char, last man up on the B site, turns. That's his second headshot, brought down Lucky, and then Relics. Now moving into Graffiti's going to try to flank the sniper, right? That's like FPS 101. You want to flank the snipers or the machine gunners, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's leaving the objective, which is that bomb, and there's not enough time to really get anything done.
Man, Kusta.
And he can plant it, but now he's lost as he gives up that. He's just going to bring down Kusta. He'll take that op away and save it into the next round. But Mainline wants this kill, limit that economy, but Char hits it. 4K for Char, but they lose the round.
Yeah, that's an enormous save. Yeah, that was right after the timer, obviously. But Mainline knowing that, only wanted to kill him to get that op, to screw his money up, and now they move into the last round with the op. Well, everybody will be able to buy because of this. Oh, actually, Fox only has a deagle, so a little bit more hurt than they'd hoped to be, but a really good round from NME. Mainline and Kusta working so well at the bathrooms. Like, no one's dying when they're coming to kill him.
Great teammates. That's nice to see. There's Uber. Couldn't quite tell with the X round whether he actually spotted them for himself or not, but was jumping for that information. Char with just a tech here. He's a good teammate as well, throwing that op that he saved, giving that over to Virtus, and he'll do what he can with that Tech 9. And there it is. Virtus finds that op shot onto Kusta, who did just have an M4A1S, so we didn't get the sniper battle, but Virtus does find a kill, and it opens up the round, now giving them a 5-on-4 when they need it the most. Char also able to pick up a rifle, which is nice. And Lucky dealing with what I assume is Josh. He's been the B lurk for the entirety of this match.
Virtus actually missing a pretty important, and I want to say easy shot, as Mainline crossed back to long. Like, wasn't even aware that Virtus would come and peek him after he was spotted in bathrooms. And Mainline now getting back to site. Look to see if Mainline has any more impact on this round, because if so, you're going to have to look back on that moment.
All right, so it has evened up now as Flash Tap did fall to Uber. Mainline holding it on the truck. Nice crossfire here with Relics. He'll get Char on the run up. Yeah, Mainline going to get them both, actually, from the truck. But the crossfire was there. Now Relics chimes in. Mainline assisting with the kill onto Fox. Josh, the lurk at B, left alone. And it sucks to be in this position when you're lurking on the map and the main offensive goes down. 1 versus 4. He starts off with a kill onto Lucky. He's running up the stairs. Now the fire to deal with. Drops the smoke. Will push through. You can see time in red, so he had to go fast, and Uber's there waiting. It will be the 12-3 half in favor of NME.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance from NME. They even got themselves out of a rut, which was a double save situation after losing a very important rifle round where they were all very low on money. And they were relying on their op. So I think economically, if they weren't sound throughout that half, they might have had a much worse time, especially dealing with Leader-1 who favored the A site, where having an op on the A site can just cutting off angles like bathrooms and long can just mean the round, right? I mean, there's even a situation where Leader-1 were trying to go to A even though they knew there was an op at A, even though they knew Kusta was there, right? And him getting a double kill and then finishing around with a 4K. I mean, they had a lot of intentions of just focusing on the A site, getting long control at the beginning of the round, clearing out bathrooms, and Kusta and mainline were just thorns in their sides. Even when B, Uber would knock them down. Relics on the rotate would get these 2Ks.
Kusta had a round at B as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they were always playing pretty passive, so it's not like the A players had a long rotate. If they were playing at bathrooms and had to run back or even push through the stairs, they were able to drop off. Kusta's in that sniper's nest on B, hits 2 shots 1 round, shut down Leader-1. So it was tough for them. They couldn't find anything to work with.
Yeah.
And switching over to the second half, I mean, of course, we've got our pistol round, Leader-1 on the CT side. I mean, we'll see what they can do, see if they play differently. If they can have a good half, maybe pull it into an OT.
It seems like they take this map. I mean, it seems like they take the game into a level of meticulousness that is pretty deep, as they have routines on T side that are distinct. I mean, if you were to practice or watch demos of this team, watch them play, which is a team they practice against a lot, you might be able to pick up very specific tendencies in what they do. Maybe that's why we saw Uber push really early on that first rifle round to kill Josh BM at long B, you know, while holding that angle instead of being aware of the left and the right. And now, oh, it looks like they're leaving one in stairs, so taking a different route here. We have like 4 people with armor. Only a single flash on mainline. I think, did he throw a smoke already?
No, he just used 1 flash and flashed Uber really, really badly as they were trying to flash outside of the stairs and get control of middle.
No upgraded pistol. Do you have no more?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Virtus.
Well, it's a bit odd. There's Josh with the first shot on the Relics. Virtus playing at that SWAT van. Well, GSG9 technically. Lucky does take down Josh over the stairs. Peaks finding 2 sitting inside of that bank. And now it's Uber's turn to do a little bit of work. Well, he'll follow the flash step, and Virtus just going to push. Knows he has a 3-on-1, can go forward. Finds a 2K on the round, and exactly how Leader-1 want to start off the second half.
All right, so I was going to say Virtus almost got timing strike there at the truck as they were really close to long as he was rotating back to bank. And then ended up being in a very important position. Like, he's got the best angle on long if they want to peek him. He's super critical to the crossfire that's happening from him and truck, and so, or the cone fire, I guess you could call it, as those angles aren't exactly on the same lane. But now NME moving out towards B with only 2 players on the site at the moment, and they will have what looks like a force-up, though our stopping and short B have been jump spotted by a Char, and now the rotates will come out as the execute happen simultaneously. Getting the plan off.
Let's see if they can. Relics does actually get the bomb down. Josh picking up 1,200 bucks though, spraying through that from Ed shot. Gets to Char with his MP7 taking down Kusta. There's Lucky able to pick up a FAMAS. That's his second kill of the round. Virtus wants to chase that down, but I think Lucky will be fast enough. And now Mainline peeking out of the sandbags, doing a lot of damage. 2-on-1. Verdi down to 14, and Mainline jumping up on the sand. Actually, that was just a jumping Tech-9 shot.
Powerball.
There it is.
But yeah, I mean, doing a lot of damage early on. If Virtus caught him crossing the sandbags, they had a very specific setup in mind right there. Lucky was like, I'm leaving long B right now. I'm coming to short. You go sandbags. I'll come up short, and then we'll just peek at different times and really, you know, make it difficult for Virtus to kill either of us, and ended up finding the frag before his teammate even had to get there. Enemy GG put that round on the board, and it seemed like as they came out to short, you know, they gave up what they were going to do. The jump spot meant that the execute was fully spotted. They saw all, you know, 4 or 5 players there. The smokes came over immediately. Rotates came out. Bomb might have even been spotted, but they still couldn't stop it. I mean, stopping that bomb plant might have been the most critical point of that round.
I think Fox just got dinked by a nade. He was the lone man that went down the stairs. He's since been killed. 2 CTs pushed forward over at long. Flashed up the remaining one now. I believe he spotted the leg of Uber, who is playing a bit closer. Flashed up back over to the rock. He's going to get dinked up. Uber takes him down. Josh, meanwhile, did get 1 kill with his FAMAS, but Enemy GG still with a pretty convincing round on their hands. 4v2. Shouldn't really lose more than 1 more player.
Now we have 4 players converging on A with long control, which is pretty much the perfect split. I mean, Virtus could have the round of his life right here, but if he doesn't, it'll most likely be a 14s for Leader-1, and or for Enemy, excuse me, and now you see some pressure at long.
Channel is
for the 1
Nico.
And he will take that kill, but the trades happen favorably. Enemy GG, 14-4 now, going on match point, and Leader-1 did spend a lot of money there. I don't know if it was a force-up in response, but economically cannot be sound.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Leader-1. Playing the defense with no money. The CT side is so expensive. They're going to have to go in for a full save. They're in the save to tie situation, which can definitely change the way you play, especially when you're behind this far. It's a lot of rounds to make up being down 10. Here's Virtus trying to fight Lucky with just a P2K. And Lucky, oh, I guess Flash Up was there too. Flash Up goes down first and then Virtus. So Lucky with a double mainline watching the other side of those stairs. He takes down Fox. So just Char and Josh. There's at least 1 P250. Maybe they can net a frag. Best case really is to save a gun, but Char looking at all 3 of them in the face. No way out of that.
First real sign of dominance, obviously, was winning the force up on the second round. I mean, doing that just shows how much more confident Enemy GG are. Like how many more shots they're hitting. Like having only Tech-9s and getting entries on the site. And now just have so much money, have full nades. I mean, they don't need this op. They're keeping the FAMAS because why not? And they will go up against the op of Virtus, but he might not even have a fair shake at using the op on this side, which might be the easier side for him to do it. Maybe he would have.
He hasn't been able to do anything with the op on the T side, and he might only get 1 round with it here on the CT side. And also to sustain this op, Flash Step had to buy the op, which means Flash Step's got an M4A4 with no armor, which is far from ideal. some could argue that the Glass Cannon op would be the better trade to have made there. But here's Uber getting 1 kill. Char working his way around that pit. Does net 2 frags. Kusta and Lucky now chiming in. 3-on-2 post-plant situation for enemies, so they're favored right here. They really don't need to peek in. They may not expect the op, but now they hear it ring out. So they don't have to peek, just play these post plants, let Virtus come to them, let Josh run out of his cover at Graffiti, which is what they're doing. Nice quick shot though, onto mainline. Verdi at barrels, now gets caught out by Kusta. Kusta just doing everything, takes down Virtus and Josh to close it out. 16-4, NME GG are moving through, winning both of their best of ones. So they'll be in the championship bracket tomorrow.
Yeah, well played from them. It'll obviously be a elimination match to follow up, a best of 3 for Leader-1 to try to come back. And I don't know, that was super dominant. Again, we see Virtus hit 1 shot on the CT side. We didn't really get to see if he could get to work, but at the same time, you know, his team's gotta pick it up. They only got 4 rounds. They lost the anti-eco.
Yeah, losing that anti-eco was, you knew it was falling apart after that. When you win a half with 12 rounds and you're able to upset on that second, it's pretty much going to seal the deal. Because even in that last rifle round, they were making so many sacrifices. Limited utility, limited kits, no armor on one of your riflers.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that, especially, you know, armor rifle or no armor rifle. I've never even, that doesn't work.
Yeah, Glass Cannon op is certainly the better compromise.
Yeah, I mean, you could no armor 1.6, but you can't no armor with a rifle and go. Like, it's just, it doesn't work. You're only going to be able to get 1 bullet off, and it better be a headshot, and it better be an AK, which...
Yeah, and a headshot's not even good enough when it's an A4 because you still have to land another one.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part taken away from this for NME was when they were on their CT side, that teamwork, the chemistry between Kusta and mainline. Like, so many times they saved each other's behinds, and it was...
That's when you get truly frustrated, like trying to chase and kill. You know, Kusta would get spotted, he'd take like 50 damage, he'd jump around a corner, and mainline would be there, you know, ready to trade him out, and he didn't, and they would never even get killed. Yep. It wasn't even like one of them would get killed.
So when you just all chat, get baited.
Get baited.
And with that, we're going to go down to the desk to see what they thought. So who's actually down there right now? We got Moses there still. Guys, take it away.
Saw the light glinting off your head, I think.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, there's a whole lot of light from all of us.
I was going to say.
Are you getting hair plugs or something?
It's like one of those adverts for Rogaine. Like, you need to be here and, like, you know, before and way before, you know what I mean?
Every time I see you, though, you have more hair. So I want to know what you're doing. We need to talk off the line because this island is, like, just...
Guys, just come to the dark side, full blown.
Yeah. Anyway, so, again, as you guys kind of called it, enemy, but a very dominating enemy.
Yeah, that was surprising, and it was. You know, you mentioned mainline. He stepped up. He had a great match. Uber as well was another person who had a great match there. But Kusta, you know, just didn't do anything super flashy. Had like maybe one like really flashy, exciting round, but was just stable with that all.
Yeah, I mean, what the big talking points here are. So you've got Kusta. He actually hasn't been having a great skill set at this tournament. He's seems to be doing more damage with a rifle, frankly. But that's amazing because that's why you can say he is a fantastic talent. You know, how many AWPers can rifle like that?
Yeah, that's super important as well.
And not many. And I got to say, I am loving this duo they've got going on between mainline and Kusta, where it's like if one gets in a bad position, the other is in there. It's Batman and Robin, and obviously mainline's got to be Robin, right? But that ain't a bad position to be considering where they were coming into this tournament. So really, that's a solid performance and against a decent Leader-1 side.
Well, and also on Overpass, I mean, what they did that was really cool is they just controlled bathrooms outside A, that whole map. Like, you know, when you can't control that as terrorists, there's no they had some of the tacos that were catered, controlled those bathrooms real well. But yeah, no, they I mean, when you can't control bathrooms as terrorists, when you can't take it over without losing too many players, you're just screwed. You can't do much.
Yeah, and unfortunate team kills kind of at the start of the game. It was all in enemy's favor. So that being said, a couple things to note about this tournament. Obviously, enemy does move forward. They're guaranteed top 4, right? Because we're taking 4 teams forward. What that does for them automatically is no matter what happens, they will get if they don't win, they will get invited to the last chance online qualifier to get one more shot to come back here. So even if they lose the rest of their tournaments, there's still a road to the majors for them, which is great. That's anyone who gets 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place. Other side of the coin, Splice now gets a rematch of Leader-1 and a best of 3.
And that's a spicy meatball.
That is,
you know what I'm saying?
meatball.
I'm really looking forward to that one because, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm biased, but, you know, obviously with everything that happened yesterday, you know, Leader-1 are going to be feeling pretty good about it. And there was some heated exchanges during the game. You know, these guys were shouting at each other. We had some stuff going on backstage afterwards. So this is definitely one to watch right now. This is going to be hot.
Yep. Love to see it.
And we'll get to that later in the day. Our next match is actually be one we're really excited about. Optic's going to take on Winter Fox. But before we go to break and set up for that, we do have Vansili. He's down on the floor, and this time he's got relics with him. Take it away, Vansili.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Joined right now with Relic. Just kidding. Relics right now of Team NME after winning a very easy match, looks like, versus Leader-1. Congratulations on that. Now I'm hearing, I saw it on the Twitter feed, that your back hurts. Not really because you're carrying the team. No. You did actually well with the 5-7 on that eco.
Thank you.
But what happened to you this morning?
I sneezed so hard that I threw my back out. I don't know. That's what happened. I'm going to go and see a masseuse, I think.
Well, you have time because now you guys are actually done for the day until tomorrow. But let's talk about this matchup against Leader-1. Let's look at the veto process. You guys actually banned Cobble and Dust 2. Why is that?
Yesterday they showed a pretty, I think, surprising performance versus Splice. I think Splice was the favorite in that matchup, and Virtus had an incredible match. You know, he's a pretty skilled opper. And then Cobble, just another map. We didn't really want to play versus them. So yeah, I thought you were doing
some magic.
Yeah. So it's the same vetoes as yesterday, actually. Just maps that we just don't feel like playing.
Well, now it falls between 3 maps that were remaining. You had Mirage, you had Train, and you had Overpass.
That's true.
It fell on Overpass, and statistically, you guys are not too good on Overpass either, so you guys left that aside. It falls on that map. How did you guys approach it?
We were pretty happy when we saw Overpass because we know that they're not too good at it. We statistically and historically aren't very good at it, but we've put a lot of work into revamping it and kind of improving on it, so this was kind of our chance to see if that work had paid off, and so we were happy with that map choice, actually.
Yeah, and you guys started on CT side first, so from what I noticed, it was a little bit more of an aggressive play on the CT side. Is this what you guys are trying to change a bit?
Kusta is really comfortable being a very mobile opper, so we like kind of having him very dynamic in his play. He wants to go pick long B one round, and then he's going mid stairs. A lot of it's for the early information play on CT. And Overpass is not a map like Inferno where there's very narrow, corridors to come through and you can just cycle smoke, so you need the information as a CT early. And he likes doing that, so, whatever Kusta wants to do, we'll let him off his leash and he can, roam free.
Well, speaking of people letting loose, because yesterday you had 2 players play very well. You had Kusta and you had Mainline. Today seems like Uber was on fire too on Overpass.
Yeah, Mainline continued his performance, and then Uber stepped it up. They were the 2 for us. I mean, yeah.
Overall, you guys are kicking it. You guys are feeling the confidence right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was much less a disparity between like everyone's performances today. It was like Mainland Uber a little ahead, and then like me, Kusta, and Lucky were kind of just right there following up behind them. Whereas yesterday was much bigger of a gap.
Yeah, well, again, you guys did very well. You did very well as well with the 5-7 on that eco. Yeah. I think it was on the 12th round of the first half.
I think so.
Kind of broke the economy as well, so great job as a team. Now with the last question, you guys are moving to the championship bracket tomorrow. So you're going to face off between, or it's going to be Winter Fox, or it's going to be Obey, or it's going to be Optic. Who would you like to face, and why?
I mean, if it was my choice, probably Obey. I think that's a pretty obvious choice. Out of those 3 teams, they're the weakest team. But I think between Optic and Winter Fox, probably Winter Fox. I think that the Conquest and current Optic lineup is one of the stronger lineups in NA. They're competing for like that top 4 bracket that was held by CLG, Cloud9, and Liquid and LG for so long.
Yep.
So I'd say Winter Fox out of those 2, but preferably Obey. I don't think that they'll make it through between those 3 teams, though.
I thought you were going to tell me it was going to be Optic because just before this interview, you told me you were a big Hector fan.
Yeah, I followed like the sniping team back in the day with like D-Treats and Predator, like when I was a COD fanboy. So I'm a big Optic Gaming fan, but when they're the enemy, they're the enemy. So they've come to CS:GO. So in the back of my heart, I'm like, oh, it's Optic Hex, but I'm like, got to try my best.
They're the enemy with no pun intended.
Oh.
So do you have any actually final shout-outs before we move on here and you could take a break?
Shout out to our org and our manager and everyone that's helped us get here. Shout out to Ryu, our coach, for coming out and helping us stay calm and collected and not getting too excited.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. This is going to end it for us here for this interview. We're going to continue, with some more Counter-Strike coming up here for the CS:GO America's Minor Championship after this short break.